Welcome, guys. So this is Ritwik. I'm the host of the Out of Office podcast, and it is powered by SyncUp. And I have with me today Anas. He is an electronics engineer by his degree, but how I know him best is a client success manager at Agency Scaling Systems. He has helped me grow and a lot of other agencies grow in India. He's become an integral part of a lot of people's success, and he's also outbound sales consultant for a lot of B2B clients, 6 to 7 figure agencies. So, and another fun fact about him, he's an NRI. So he has spent 15 years in the Saudi, and he's also a great sports person. So thank you, Anas, for joining in, and it's great to have you.
It's my pleasure, Ritwik. Nice to have you.
Perfect. So Anas, let's get started. The first thing is that I want to ask you. You mentioned that you have a minor degree in digital marketing. You have been a agency owner yourself. So what attracted you towards this whole space of agencies and freelancing and marketing in general?
Yeah, so my experience and the way how I got started into the space, and I'd like to keep the answers very blunt, like straight on. The thing which motivated me is money, and the reason is the supply and the demand curve. When I started digital marketing, was just like Tai Lopez and Iman, them speaking
Yeah.
about this. A lot of business owners wanted to get into the space, so there was demand, but there was no supply. Thought that's the perfect opportunity to step into it and make money. That's the goal, and that's how I
That's
went
great.
into the digital marketing. Not such like I had any aspirations. Thought, okay, this money, let's jump into it.
Hmm. So what year did you get started? And around that time, who were the people who were into this space who sort of probably motivated you or attracted you towards this whole industry?
So I started back in 2018. 2018 was the time where I was like looking into make money online space. So you have affiliate marketing and those kind of things. And the people who influenced me, like I didn't had any influence as such because I was into MLM and like 6 months into MLM marketing. MLM is like the
Yeah.
thing which I would never recommend anyone to get into it.
Yeah.
You lose your status, you lose your friends, everything, right? And that really, taught me, okay, let's try something else where I'm not dependent on these people, right? And that's where I went into the hunt of, make money online. Let's see how this works, and that's how
Yeah.
this, circle went. So not any influences as such, but then it's the external environments that really forced me to get into the space.
Hmm. You mentioned MLM, right? For a
Yes.
lot of people, it's called multi-level marketing who might not know, and it's I would say the women probably in your neighborhood selling you Amway products, things like that, right? That's like
Yes.
a MLM scheme. So if you don't mind me asking, right, what was the MLM sort of products that you were working in, and would you say like you learned something from there because it's a more aggressive way of doing things? It takes a lot of persuasion, sales, and all of that. So what did that teach you?
Yeah, as I told, I'm being blunt. The company's name is Ebiz, EBIZ,
Okay, okay.
and I was like banned, I think, a couple of years back.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing, as you mentioned, in learning, it's direct selling. It's very, and the way they train their sales reps is motivating them
Yeah.
about the life and getting out of the matrix. That's what
Mm-hmm.
that's what their
Yeah.
main agenda is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's obviously like someone who wants to get into like online marketing. I would sometimes suggest get into MLM, just see the seminars, see how they motivate
Mm-hmm.
the people, right? The
Mm-hmm.
way they pursue, and everyone becomes mad listening.
Yeah.
So that is one positive point which I learned from them is like, being a
Mm.
hustler and
Yeah.
having an open mindset. That's yeah, one of the positive side which I learned
Mm.
while working with that
Mm.
company.
So after that, you got into the agency space, right? After the MLM
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
So did you apply some tactics there? Did you try some persuasion tactics, sales tactics from what you learned in MLM there to get your initial bit of clients?
Yeah, I think the thing which I applied was the overall mindset
Mm.
which you got from the MLM. Right? MLM selling is like horrible. You just into
Yeah.
the very old pitch deck and horrible, right? I would
Yeah.
never recommend that kind of sell. It's not more consultative selling because the product
Yeah.
is bad. So what will you
Yeah.
sell? You
Yeah.
have to
Exactly.
force the product down their throat, making
Yeah.
them feel that this is good for them. It's like selling sand for a person living desert. That's
Yeah.
the story in MLM, right?
Yeah.
So
So
tactics
so
is
when you
just the mindset.
transition so when you transition into the agency space, what were the kind of services that you were giving to clients? What was your whole process like getting into that whole space?
Yeah, so my main services was website design. The
Okay.
businesses that I worked with, because I used to live in Saudi, so I
Hmm.
reached out to these Arab people,
Hmm.
and they were like not aware of all of these things. So I told them, okay, you need to have a website, this, that, and they were interested. So that was
Yeah.
the main starting point, and that was my main skill till now. I still do
Hmm.
website development for a lot of
Okay.
businesses, consultants. So I started with
Wow.
website development and then branched out into like many social media management and those kind of things. But then website is the main thing.
Yeah. Got it. And like, so how would you say things have changed? From 2018 to now, 2024 is here, right? So how have things changed into this whole digital marketing, agencies, freelancers, right from providing services, because now there are like drag and drop, for example, places, right? People don't even code websites now. To there are different ways of acquiring customers, right? So how would you say things have changed from 2018 to 2024 now?
Yeah, things have changed like massively because
Hmm.
obviously the demand was there. Now the problem
Hmm.
is the supply has also increased. There are a lot of
Hmm.
people entering into the market, right? But
Hmm.
then there's an advantage because these people are not good in service delivery,
Hmm.
right? This is
Hmm.
the cold truth. They
Yeah.
just learn some YouTube videos and then they try to sell. That will
Hmm.
not work. So I think one
Yeah.
thing which you can implement 2024 is having a world class service delivery. If you can nail
Hmm.
this thing, that is one aspect of the business. And second thing is obviously leveraging like video content like
Yeah.
YouTube. And if you show your face, that will build more trust. And that
Hmm.
is the agency's next move should be for every agency
Yeah.
owners getting out online, putting out Instagram
Hmm.
reels and shorts and putting a video content. That's something which I would recommend 2024 move.
Yeah. Like one question which I have, and I'm sure a lot of people have this question when they're getting, like, especially for people who are starting out. Everybody knows that, okay, you need to have a good product. Everybody knows that you need to have a fantastic delivery service, but that is something that comes, I would say, later, right? The first thing that happens is actually going out and reaching out to clients, right? So how do you build that trust? How do you showcase that when you're trying to acquire clients? Because that is the first step, right? So even if I'm, say, very experienced, or say I have a very good team, I know that I'm capable of doing something, but I first will need to get a client before they even come to know about my services. So how would you say somebody can leverage that, or somebody can showcase their world class delivery through, say, video content, or through their outreach methods?
Okay, so the example is more specifically for a person who doesn't has case studies, zero.
Hmm. Yeah.
So for this person, like you can just take example like any other industry, right?
Hmm.
Because people think digital marketing is like make money niche kind of thing.
Hmm.
Just like every other industry, if you don't have experience, first you have to gain experience, like work as an
Yeah.
intern. So in this
Yeah.
space, what you would say, reach out to a client, say, hey, I'm looking to work with some clients, and I'm willing to work on a performance basis. So
Yeah.
no upfront fee, and then whatever I give you the return, you pay me something like that. Like for example, videos could be like I shoot this many videos, you can give me a testimonial. You'll have to do
Yeah.
something. You'll have to
Hmm.
put in manual labor. You can't expect money at start. That's
Hmm.
what I would say, because the market is sophisticated. Back in the days 2018, you could just spin any offer and then throughout
Yeah.
people will buy. But then people
Yeah.
have heard the same offer again against market level 5
Hmm.
sophistication, right? So in
Hmm.
order to stand out, you will have to go to business owner and say, see, I've learned the skills, I've
Hmm.
acquired the things, I have a team where looking to get more clients, so I'm working with you on a performance basis.
Yeah.
So we can
Yeah.
tie up an agreement and then we can see.
Hmm.
So you need, once you have a case study, then you can leverage it. And that's how
Yeah.
the move is. People try to skip this step because it's too
Yeah.
much work, and then they
Yeah.
end up wasting a lot of more time.
Yeah, true. I think a lot of I think people are under this wrong impression that you need to make money from the first client itself. I would say that is detrimental to their own growth, because now you're just delaying the process of actually making good amount of money. You can just put in probably a month or 2 months into interning, generating clients, shooting from the shoulders of other people, learning the ropes, and then getting into the whole space. Right? I think that is extremely crucial. Talking about these people now, for example, now they've started, right? For example, they have a case study now, and we also have some experienced agency owners probably listening to us or freelancers listening to us. What would you say are the best outreach methods and the best modes of acquiring clients in today's day and age? You can go from, you can also add levels to it. That if it's a complete beginner, or if you are at a level of say earning $2,000 to $3,000, or if you're at a level of saying $10,000 to $15,000 per month in terms of revenue. So how would you say they should acquire clients as they keep going on?
So for a beginner, like, this is a very broad question, about
Yeah.
acquiring clients in
Hmm.
different. For example, every outreach system works. So
Okay.
this mindset needs to be there, because some people try to think there is some unique outreach method. The only thing that matters is your offer
Hmm.
and your credibility.
Hmm.
These are the two most important things. If you have your
Hmm.
offer nailed down, if you have
Hmm.
like credibility, like you have worked with a couple of clients, any outreach system will work. You go send a WhatsApp message to a
Yeah.
business owner. This is my offer. I worked with this. Mind if I share a Loom video on how we do these things?
Yeah.
Very simple. So the channel is different,
Yeah.
but then what you need to be focusing on is the offer and credibility. Okay, let's say you got that done.
Hmm.
Channels, they're very various channels.
Yeah.
LinkedIn, best place to get started with, because people can see you. You have a
Hmm.
profile, and LinkedIn is a place where you expect to get pitched.
Hmm.
It's a business platform. So I would say
Yeah.
people start from there, LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Once you have LinkedIn, then you can jump into like Instagram, you can go into Facebook, you can go into cold email, you can go into
Hmm.
various different channels. But I think LinkedIn is a best place to start, irrespective of what sort of level you are. It's a good place to start, put out content over there, and then you can branch
Yeah.
out to various different
Got
things.
it. Got it. So even on LinkedIn, right? Would you say that somebody should start by what should be their approach? Should it be that they start creating content? Should it be that they just start reaching out to people? If they're reaching out, what is the way? What is the framework of an effective reach out on probably LinkedIn?
Okay, so I think I'll tell things very straight on. Okay,
Yeah.
and this is the way, like, how you do things, right? People
Okay.
might say various different things, but this is how I look into this, because you need to see in terms of the client. They're a human, they're a business owner. Okay, the most important thing on your profile is your offer, like what do you
Hmm.
provide. And
Hmm.
second thing, do you have like claims, do you have anything to back it up?
Hmm.
If you have these two things, as I mentioned before, you are in a very good place. So your profile should be like, hey, I help let's say e-commerce brands
Hmm.
increase their sales,
Hmm.
and in the future you have boom 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 case studies,
Hmm. Hmm.
right? And then your outreach message will be, hey, I saw that you run a footwear brand. Okay,
Hmm.
recently helped one e-commerce brand go from X to Y in Z time. Mind if I
Hmm.
share a document, mind if I share a few strategies that I had for you?
Hmm.
That's how you need to outreach. You show
Hmm.
your offer, you show your case study, and then you ask them if they're direct response.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how you need to proceed. You can't just waste time. Hey, how's this? I saw you this. No, no, just get straight to the point. If it's a lead that you really want to work with, if
Hmm.
it's like a dream 100,
Yeah.
straight on this.
Yeah.
And then optimize your profile. Obviously, as I mentioned, your offer needs to be there. You need to have case studies. You need to put out some sort of content so people believe that you're actually good in this field. And then straight up approach, this is what I have, this is my case study, are you interested? Yes or no. If they yes, let's move forward. If not, next person. That's how it is. Very simple.
Yeah, yeah. And again, one more thing which people get confused with, they don't go after volume, right? They
Hmm.
think that it's, as simple as just reaching out to 2 to 3 people every day. Since you are working with so many agencies, I want you to give people a perspective of what it actually takes to make outreach work, right? The number of reps people need to put in.
Yeah, so if I talk about like cold email, because I do cold email for some businesses. So the stats is like, for every 250 emails you get one positive response,
Hmm.
and for every 2.5 thousand emails sent, you will
Hmm.
get a client.
Hmm.
So you see the volume. You have to like, if you email like 3,000 people, you'll
Hmm.
sign one client. You might get like
Yeah.
10 responses. That's the volume we are talking about. 3,000, it's not like 30, or it's not even 3. So
Yeah.
that's one thing which people have to put in mind. Is like, I give this analogy for people. I was talking to a guy, and then he was like, I'm scared to do outreach.
Mm.
because business will reject me,
Yeah.
right? It's a common thing, right? They won't like me. So
Mm.
I give the example. Let's say you're in, and I got an example from the MLM company which I learned earlier. So this is
Mm.
what they told to motivate me. Imagine you're in a beach and there are like 500 shells. You know those
Mm.
shells which has the pearl inside.
Yeah.
In one shell there's a pearl.
Mm.
Rest all are empty, and there are 500
Yeah.
of them.
Mm.
And then the pearl is like cost like $1 million.
Yeah.
So you get it, jackpot.
Mm.
Will you just
Yeah.
go open the one shell? It's not there. Arey,
Mm.
chalo nikalte.
Yes.
That will not happen. You will be running in the beach. People will be calling you,
Yeah.
अरे ऋत्विक क्या हो रहा है? नहीं नहीं, वो एक
Yes.
मिलियन का वो जो पर्ल है ना, नहीं मिल रहा है वो. Even if you
Mm.
go 400, you'll say अरे
Mm.
100 बचा है. Let's keep
Yes.
going. And if you open the shell, if you don't see anything, or if you see like
Mm.
some spider,
Mm.
maybe trying to hit you, you'll just say, okay, forget this,
Yeah.
move on. You have the
Move
visions.
on.
That's how people need to be. Volume is that, because the
Yeah.
more reps you put in, you're one step closer towards the goal. And then if you're just sitting there, someone else will come and take the pearl and go, and you'll be just
Mm.
stuck there. That's what I see.
Yeah, I think that's a great analogy. I think people should know that, their poll is out there somewhere and they need to send out those messages. Obviously, you have to work very hard, right? Like if you're on a beach, there's obviously a lot of sunshine, right? The waves are hitting you, there's a lot of sunshine, a lot of heat, but you need to weather through that and you will, right? Because you know that there's something at the end of it, right? So that's a great analogy. Again, you mentioned that there are some people who are scared to do outreach, for example, right? There might be a lot of people, they might be hesitant of reaching out to people, they might not have the confidence to do it. I know for a fact that there are, different ways now coming up. Like, for example, creating content is one where you can just put out content and that will attract customers to you, right? You'll not have to go anywhere, to acquire those clients. So, would you say what are the best ways of acquiring clients by attracting them rather than going out to them? Is it ads? Is it creating content? And how should one go about that?
Yeah. So when it comes to acquiring clients, this
Mm-hmm.
is something which I learned from a person doing like $6 million in business, and then he has like multiple different. You can see YouTube cold email wizard.
Mm.
So he's a big guy in this space and he's worked with many different businesses. So he talks about three things when it comes to acquiring clients.
Mm.
There's manual outbound,
Mm.
there's content, and then there's ads.
Mm.
So whatever outreach you do, it will revolve around these three things. Now you
Yeah.
mentioned about acquiring clients, like people come to you. So that's
Mm.
content and ads. So all you
Mm.
have to do is put out good content and
Mm.
then create more, just launch ads. Content, you can create one piece of content and then repurpose it, put into Instagram, put
Mm.
into Twitter, put into uh, LinkedIn, and so many platform. And that's how you can you know
Yeah.
and then see about client acquisition. One thing which, especially for the clients which I'm working with inside agent scaling systems,
Mm.
there are three things that people need to know. One is, you need to work hard. I don't see
Mm.
people putting in enough reps,
Mm.
right? Just forget about it. No, that will not happen.
Yeah.
You have to work hard. Secondly, you have to have consistency. You
Mm.
can't expect to work hard a day and then just skip. And then third thing, you need to have patience.
Mm.
If you have these three things, work hard, consistency, and patience, you will be a beast. You can
Yes.
outperform every single one. Like, you're like a beast now. This Alex
Yeah.
Hormozy talks about it. These three things, and this is what is missing. It's not the tactics as general. Like, I can give you everything you want. There's
Mm.
YouTube. There's everything. Like,
Yeah.
information is there. Execution is
Yeah.
missing.
Yeah.
And if people nail that, then they're like 1% of the competition. Easy.
True, true. I think often what people make a mistake with, and it's I'm part part of that tribe, where you tend to get complacent, especially with things like manual outbound, because you need to show up every single day, right? And showing up every single day is the toughest thing. It's even tougher than actually speaking to a client and closing a deal, right? Just showing up every day, sending out those messages, it's a tough thing to do. But then it begs the question that do you really want it? And if you really want it, you'll have to do it, right? Especially if you're in the starting phase where you don't have the funds to probably create very high quality content, you don't have the enough information, or you don't have enough money to run ads, for example, right? So you will have to do it. You'll have to show up every single day. Talking about now, so we have sorted this whole thing of lead generation. I think people would have found a lot of value out of that. Let's talk about once somebody responds to you, right, and they're interested in speaking with you, they want to book a call. So how can you take them from that journey of just being in their DMs to now becoming a client? What kind of SOPs, what kind of systems should you take care of to give them a great journey and show that professionalism, show that high world class quality of showing results, right?
Yeah, so this process is very simple. Like,
Mm.
because we're working with a lot of clients, so we know exactly what needs to be done. So if person
Yeah.
says interested, number one step is that
Mm.
you ask them, are you available this week, for a call?
Yeah.
Give them timings, and then place the message something like, hey, are you available tomorrow at 10 a.m? We can have a call. 10 a.m EST, 10 a.m IST, whatever time zone. And then you can put a line down there saying that if not, you can book a slot on my calendar. So you play around both ways. So you say, are you available at these times? If not, you can take a slot. That's the first thing. And see if they reply, and see if they book a call. Let's say they book a call, they're interested. The second thing what you do is, they booked a call, today is Saturday, and then they booked a call for, let's say, next Thursday. So you
Mm.
have good amount of days. You don't just be a ghost,
Yeah.
right? You send them things, send them trainings, send them
Mm.
your case studies. Don't spam them, but then send at least two or three
Mm.
before the call. This is the testimonial, this is the case study, this is the process, this is what differentiates us. So it warms up the lead.
Yeah.
This is the second step. And then you can either automate this. We teach about automation inside our program, but then people who are starting out, they can do things manually. And
Yeah.
then the third thing is hopping on the call,
Mm.
right? Hopping on the call, asking them questions. This is an entire different thing about sales, right?
Yeah.
And sales is one thing, because we have these conversations with a lot of people. Sales is simply, you just need to be a doctor.
Mm.
Have this mindset of a doctor. If you ask the doctor, like, hey, the heart surgery is like 10 lakhs, I think it's too expensive. What will the
Yeah.
doctor say? Okay, fine, die.
Yeah.
Right? I need to think about it. Right? I need to
Mm-hmm.
check with my partner. No, that doesn't
Yeah.
happen. Right?
Mm.
So this is how you need to be on sales call. Just ask them questions. Try to diagnose the situation before prescribing any pill. So you have a pill now. Let's say it's like
Mm.
website design. So before
Mm.
prescribing the website design, ask them, okay, what sort
Mm.
of things you require, and then
Mm.
discuss it, and then you
Mm.
provide. So the steps is, give them times, warm up the lead before the call, and then hop on the sales call, and try your best to close the lead.
Yeah.
That's how
Makes
things
sense.
goes.
Makes sense. So, like taking a deeper dive into sales, right? Sales and persuasion. Again, a lot of people are hesitant. They don't know what kind of process to follow, what kind of framework to follow. What would you say is a simple framework which people can use to actually, get these people from being random strangers to now building a lot of trust, and then finally trusting you with their money, with their time and energy. So what would you say that is that framework of a 1 hour sales call which you should follow? How should you structure it in a way that these clients end up loving you by the end of it?
Yeah, so it's again pretty simple. The first thing is,
Mm.
when you hop on the sales call, first thing, a little bit of rapport, right?
Mm.
Hey, how you doing? This, that, how is the weather? Whatever you want to
Yeah.
speak about. And then you start off with the intention of the call, and you will be
Mm.
leading this thing. Like, this call is for like the next 45 minutes, and then in this I'll be asking you some questions about your business to understand it, and once I understand it, then I'll be providing the solution which I feel if we are a good fit. So you
Yeah.
set the frame right up.
Mm.
I'll be leading the call. I'll be asking some questions to understand about your business. If I
Mm.
understand things correctly, I will guide you to the right direction. If it's
Mm.
working with me, if it's working with some other person whom I know in my network, irrelevant.
Mm.
But first thing, I want to understand about your business. Because this, what
Mm.
happens is, the person, like, you're asking some questions in the middle of the sales call, and then the
Mm.
client says, what's the price?
Yeah.
So you tell them, no, I'm trying to understand,
Mm.
because I want to see if it's a good fit. If
Yeah.
it's a good fit, I'll propose like what we have. If it's not
Yeah.
good fit, I'll recommend someone from our network, because I know a lot of people.
Mm.
Right? So you have to be very genuine, and this is how it the introduction works. And then you go into the qualification. So you ask them about
Mm.
questions, revenue, problems, what exactly they're facing, what solutions they have tried.
Mm.
That is most important in the sales call. You need to ask them what they have tried. So they'll say we have tried this and it didn't work. So you get some ammo on your sales pitch.
Hmm.
So introduction, you qualify, and then you put in your pitch deck. Like, okay,
Yeah.
this sounds good. If it's a good fit, don't just randomly pitch someone whom you know this will not convert. So you need to
Yeah.
keep your frame as well, and then tell them, okay, this is what we have, blah blah blah, and then ask them this is how much it cost, and then you go into objection handling, which is another different thing. Because whatever price you quote, they won't say yes. They will be
Yeah.
hesitant. They'll say negotiate this, that, and then you have to tackle that. So that's how the sales call framework: introduction, qualification, your pitch, and then the closing. If it's like very warm lead, otherwise you need to handle the objection. Then this is how the sales call goes. If you miss one of these things, rest assured you'll not close it. That's how the
Got it.
structure is.
Makes sense. Yeah, I think sounds good. I think something which I've seen observed in my sales calls as well, right? Whenever we are working with clients, um, it's very important to maintain your frame. You talked about this keyword called frame. I think a lot of people, especially if you're a beginner, you don't have the confidence in your services. You don't know if you'll be able to get them results, and you lose this frame which we call, right. It is very important to maintain and believe that what you're offering to them is going to be life changing for them, right, and it's going to be life changing for the business. Correct. So you need to have a lot of self confidence, and that is what the other word for that is frame. The other thing is that a lot of people make this mistake of not being able to lead the conversation in a sales call, right? Because now here, as you mentioned, you are the doctor. They are not the doctors, right? You are the doctor. You are here to analyze. You're here to understand. You're not here to just tell them that, hey, give me 20. I'll charge 1 lakh for this, or I'll charge $1,000 for this. Yes and no. Okay, if you want to do it for $250, okay, go ahead. Right? You'll never be able to retain them at least. Right? They might give you money for once, but the game is not to have things for once. Right? The aim is to have these clients for a very long period of time. So maintaining frame is extremely important. The other thing is asking the right kind of questions, going through doing your research, a short research before you go on to the call, preparing very well by identifying some problems, because I've seen that people want something personalized to them, right? People want personalized solutions. So if you check through their website once, if you can identify some problems there, if you can go through their Facebook ads library, you can identify a couple of problems there. That just helps you build a lot of frame, because now here again, they will be very impressed, because now they think that, okay, I booked in a sales call just a couple of days back, and he's already done his research on me, and that's something that you should do. And obviously then the presentation or the pitch deck which you have on the sales call is also extremely important. You can give me your views on it. I personally go ahead and typically add in our what do we stand for. I think knowing your values and what do you stand for and what you expect is very important. Number two is telling them what kind of process you follow and why is it important to follow that process. And obviously then you have some testimonials and case studies, and then you have your objection handling. So any views there, especially on the presentation part, because a lot of people are confused
Yeah. So
what you should have on the
presentation.
pitch deck.
Yeah. Instead of giving a to do list, I will give you a to not to do list.
Okay.
So if you don't do these things, then it'll help you. First thing, don't keep it like the general presentation that you show on schools.
Hmm.
Now, I was reviewing a couple of presentations, pitch decks for our clients, and then it's like about us, and then I started from my bedroom, and no one cares.
Yeah.
Right? You have to get straight to the point, right? And don't try to keep it like so much fancy and decorative. So don't try to mess around. Don't keep it too long, also, like
Yeah.
37 slides.
Yeah.
Those things will definitely not work, right? Don't just talk a lot about yourself. This is what I do, this is what I do, this is my employee, he lives in this place. No, what you have to focus on is this is our offer, and this is our process, like how you mentioned, this is how we do things, right? We have this things, right? And this obviously happens after like the diagnosis is done, not like in the start of the sales call. This after, when you have dug in, you have built the rapport, they trust you, like, okay, this guy understands our business, and then you show like this process, you show like some case studies, and then timelines, and that's how you show the pitch deck. Keep it short, simple, to the point. Show your processes, show your results, and show the next steps of getting started. Because if they're sold on the offer, then whatever process you take is like irrelevant for them, but they just want to see like how this thing works. right? They're not concerned about it. If you use Notion or ClickUp, they don't really care, but they just want to build that trust. Okay, that this actually, like how even Amazon, if you deliver a product, you see that timeline. This is in this place, it's in this warehouse. You don't care, like you don't even go to that place to see if my product is there, but it's the customer experience. Like people want to know that. So that's how you need to keep on pitch deck, show your
Yeah.
process, your offer, testimonials, and close the deal.
Yeah, makes sense. I think you have hit it right on the head. Um, so apart from that, right? Like I think once people are through that process, they have converted or they haven't converted. One thing which is very important, as you mentioned about world class service delivery. So, are there any general tips for hiring the right kind of people? How should you go about hiring? Because I get this question, right? Like I got a question from one of my fellow friends who's an agency owner yesterday, and he said that I took this interview session. The candidate was very happy, very good on that process, on that call. But once we started working together, things went wild, and he's not working properly, and that obviously hinders. Like especially this is a pretty dicey situation to be in, because if you have allotted that person to a particular client, right, and this person leaves midway, it looks very unprofessional. So, how do you say you should go about hiring? And then obviously client delivery, world class client delivery post that.
Yeah, so in hiring, first thing you have to set up like proper expectations for the person. Okay, that you're coming into my agency. This is what you need to be doing. Step one, step two, step. This is like your daily roles. This is like your
Yeah.
weekly roles. This is your monthly roles. So they need to have exactly what they need to be doing. Because what happens is, Alex Holmes talks about it about team management. Is like if you don't tell them the thing, then they won't do it,
Yeah.
right? If I wanted a weekly report, this is my expectation, but then you're not doing it. The reason why you're not doing it is because I didn't tell it verbally for you to do it. So you have to firstly make a document, and this is exactly what we need from let's say a media buyer, or let's say a graphic designer.
Yeah.
Exactly what needs to be done. Now you need to show this on the hiring call that this is what we are expecting. Can you do all of these things? Right? So then there will be like enough clarity for the person who's coming in. Okay, he knows exactly what needs to be done. It's not like, yeah, media buyer, you're a good guy, I'm a good guy, let's start working. No, you have to be very
Yeah.
clear. You need to have an agreement also. Keep things formalized. This is the pay, because people, I don't like to just go unprofessional. You have to have some sort of document, signature, right? Old school things matter a lot. This
Yeah.
excited people, and yeah, let's work together. You work in my agency, we'll make good money, I'll promote you, and I'll make you
Yeah.
this. No, nonsense, doesn't work. You have to have
Yeah.
structures, you need to have expectations.
Hmm.
This is what I want you to do, can you do it?
Yeah.
This comes down to
Yeah.
hiring. And secondly, training. We were discussing this last time about my employees are not doing the stuff that I want them to do.
Yeah.
The first thing, you have to train them like a child. Make them loom
Yeah.
videos. You have to do
Yeah.
exactly this is how I do things. I want you to follow the same structure. If you have any improvements, let me know, but then this is how I want you to do. You just can't expect them to like do this and
Yeah.
expect good result. No, you have to train them. You have to train them like a child. Like how I give this analogy, like a chat GPT. Chat GPT is like really powerful AI tool, but
Yeah.
all depends on your prompts. If you give
Yeah.
like a general prompt, like write a LinkedIn post on websites, it'll just give a general one. But if you
Yeah.
give them like a solid prompt, it'll give you a solid reply. That's the same thing with team members. You have to give them a nice prompt, and then they'll give you the
Yeah.
solid results that you're looking for.
Yeah. True. And I think one big problem, right? So you're very right about um, being very clear about the expectations. I think that's something which people are not very particular about. They are scared that if I show them this, then they'll be scared and they'll run away. But I think you should be extremely clear. I was watching this movie a couple of days back along with my brother. It's called it's a movie about Steve Jobs, right? It's called Jobs only. I think if I'm remembering right. And that movie takes place through his journey of releasing the Mac and Macintosh and all of that. And although the Mac was a big failure, right? When they had initially released it, Steve Jobs was extremely clear and extremely particular about his expectations, right from his engineers to his marketing team to everybody in the organization. And I think that is what has made Apple the most valuable company today. That culture being set by Steve Jobs of being extremely clear with the expectations, telling them and expecting the right things from the right people. Obviously, he hired very well. He had the most talented people in the world, but even setting expectations beyond that is even more important. It is even more important. So one more thing, Anas, which I think a lot of people have a problem with, is that they're able to find technically sound people, but they're not able to find a right cultural fit, the people who will communicate with the clients in the way they want, right? Or they will do things in the way they expect them to do. So what would you say is a good way or a good framework for hiring people who are also not only a technical fit but even a cultural fit, right? So how would you go about that?
Yeah, so let's say, for example, you get invited into Tesla
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
work in their department as a lead
Yeah.
engineer, something,
Hmm.
right? Now this is Tesla, crazy big
Hmm.
company, right? You'll
Yeah.
have all the vision, you'll share on social media. I got applied into Tesla or Google or any other big companies.
Hmm.
Why? Because the company itself is very big. The
Hmm.
founder is like a really good guy,
Yeah.
right? So same thing in terms of agency. Let's say small agencies. As I mentioned earlier, 2024 move is video content. So you need to position yourself as a high value guy.
Hmm.
You yourself are an idiot.
Hmm.
You can't do things by yourself.
Hmm.
Your structure, like how will that guy get motivated? There
Hmm.
needs to be this disparity. Okay,
Hmm.
my boss is here, I'm here. They can't be on the
Hmm.
same level,
Hmm.
right? You have a very weird way of working, and that guy's like super organized. That's not going to work.
Yeah.
So the way you build your vision is you build yourself. You
Hmm.
make yourself so high value, and then you
Hmm.
set your vision that this is what we're doing, and that's
Hmm.
how the people will follow. Let's say, for example, Faisal in the
Yeah.
agency space, he runs the agency Brands Lane.
Hmm.
So people want to work with him. Why? Because he has set his vision up front.
Hmm.
He's being online, he's showing his stuff, so people want to join that. Okay, these guys are
Hmm.
doing good, let me join that. So
Hmm.
that's how you build a vision. You can't build vision by showing a notion doc.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is my vision, come join me. Who
Hmm.
will join? And
Yeah.
this is India, like people jo dikhta hai bikta hai. So you
Yeah.
have to be very upfront, like you have
Hmm.
to show like you're actually a valuable guy. Then only this vision thing will come. Otherwise, no one, people just care of money. The
Yeah.
more money you give, then they get more motivated. Same thing when
Yeah.
we, any service provider works with clients. The more money you give, the more value you get, right?
Yeah.
So that's how the thing works. You have to be a high value person by yourself. Then
Yeah.
people will come into your vision. People will work with you, but then the vision thing will just happen if you yourself are a valued person.
Hmm. True. True. You mentioned agency scaling system, right? And I think I would want to touch
Yes.
upon that. I think agency scaling systems is almost 80 members strong now, with mostly agency owners and freelancers. I've been a part of it for almost a year now, and it has definitely been, I would say, pretty transformational for me as an agency owner. A lot of things I've learned, but I would want you to, since you are the client success manager, you're working with almost 80 agencies on a day-to-day basis. What would you say is the first of all the importance of something like agency scaling system? Number one, and number two is what is the transformation you have seen uh, with these agency owners once they have become a part of it?
So basically, giving like a pitch deck of agency scaling systems.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead. It's been great for me, and obviously the products you love, you should obviously promote them. So agency scaling system is definitely one of them. Yes.
Yeah, so agency scaling systems, like any other program that you see out there, in
Hmm.
terms of growth and consulting. So we are competing in that similar thing. But then
Hmm.
one thing which we try to keep ourselves apart from the rest is not just about information. Information
Hmm.
you can get on YouTube, on Google. How to build an agency? Just Google it. Use Chat GPT, and then you will get an entire seven-figure agency blueprint.
Hmm.
But then what happens is you're doing following a blueprint, and then you get stuck. Okay,
Hmm.
what happens when you get stuck now? Which information will help you? Again, you have to go into the hunt.
Yeah.
So what agent scaling system do is whenever you have a problem, we are here for you guys. You have
Yeah.
access, to the community. You have access to me personally. We can hop on calls. You also have access to live calls where we discuss, various issues. So that
Hmm.
is the main USP of our program is direct access, and we are here to support you because information. We're not competing information. We can make a big library of all information, but then what matters is execution and then the right help. If you're getting stuck, we help you, we push you up, then you keep going. That is the
Yeah.
strategy of agent scaling systems.
Yeah, yeah. And what would you say you have seen in terms of changes, right, with the people who have joined in this past year or so of agency scaling systems being live?
Yeah, we have seen a lot of, I need not mention about the success stories because
Hmm.
there's a lot more. I can just,
Yeah.
keep talking on and on. People have, one of our clients, like he hit $40,000 in revenue in
Hmm.
December.
Crazy.
So from like beginning from like 5,000 to like reaching up to 40,000 is no joke. And there are many other
Yeah.
people who have, not just in terms of revenue, but then we
Hmm.
also help them in other aspects like systemizing mindset and all of those things. So we have seen growth in not
Yeah.
just revenue but various other aspects as well.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. No, I would say definitely, we have anybody who's out there listening to this. I'm sure people would have taken a lot of, they take Udemy courses, they'll take random freelancing courses and they think that that is going to help them. It will to get you started. But what you need is, a community of people in a healthy competition with each other, right? I think one thing which people undermine a lot is healthy competition, right? In a very subliminal way, right? When you enter something like agency scaling system, you're there with 75, 80 other agency owners. There are people making $40,000, $20,000, $10,000, kids of 18, 19 years old, hitting these revenues, and it sort of plummets you into this orbit where you will need to buckle up, right? You're forced into that situation of doing well, right? And I think that is what is the importance of something like agency scaling system, right? So yeah, great. Talking about, I want to get into more of the personal benefits for you, right? You got into this whole space for money. I hope that has been sorted out for you, first of all.
Sorry, if you can you repeat.
I said, you got into this whole space for making money. I hope that is sorted out for you.
Yeah, things are, being into this space, obviously it has been incremental, and we have seen all sort of I've seen all sort of growth, like from financial growth,
Yeah.
personal growth. So there's a lot of growth.
Yeah, yeah. And I want to talk about again, you started this journey almost, what is it, like 6 years back, right?
Yeah, 5 to 6 years back.
5.5, 6 years back. What would you say you have seen in terms of a personality before 2018 and who is Anas now?
Yeah, so back in the days, a normal student who had this aspiration of getting into
Hmm.
9 to 5, that was the thing. Very studious guy. Even now I'm
Yeah.
studious. But then over the years, like, I've learned
Hmm.
a lot of things, not just about you know tactical things, but also the overall mindset and the overall
Yeah.
vision about business, sales, marketing, offers, and all of those things. So it's been a big transformation. six
Yeah.
years is, in terms of every single aspect, I've seen a lot of growth, and it's a
Yeah.
continuous process. It's not something which it stops, and I'm still learning and still continuing, and then it's the work that
Yeah.
keeps going on.
Yeah. True. True. And what would you say, are the number of skills that you've learned along the way? Because a lot of people there, obviously everybody starts out, like we had a podcast, like our last podcast with Priyesh, it was, right? And he also mentioned that, money was one factor that got him into this whole space. But eventually you understand that, you're learning so much more. And this is probably the only business, like the freelancing or the agency business, where you get a taste of everything, right? Like say you have done your engineering. If you would have been an engineer, the only thing you would have known about was engineering, right? There would have been no other thing that you would have learned apart from that. So what would you say are the number of skills, number of things that you have learned on this journey, which people should, keep in mind while getting onto this space, because it is going to be helpful in any regard, right, in the future as well.
Yeah, so as I mentioned about the
Hmm.
tactical aspects about like marketing, sales, and all of those things, but then the most important thing which I've learned about is the peak
Hmm.
performance, how your body
Hmm.
stays, how you need to be
Hmm.
working, how you need to be hustling, and what sort of strategies you need to apply deep work and those
Yeah.
kind of things. I think that's something has been very profound. Sleep cycles is one thing which I recently learned and I'm
Yeah.
implementing it. So those things have been a lot. And if I've been in the engineering
Yeah.
job, all I've just learned, because I'm into
Yeah.
ECE, electronics and communication, I'll be just learning
Hmm.
about chips, ICs and those kind of things all day, and then the same old cycle, and then the promotions come in like every
Yeah.
3 years, right? But then here promotion, I can get promoted
Yeah.
tomorrow also, right? It's just about me just putting in the reps and I can get
True.
started. I can control the pace, which is a great thing
True.
to do.
True. So yeah, I mean, before we get into the rapid fire round, what is like one final piece of advice you would love to give aspiring agency owners, freelancers?
Yeah, I think one advice which I would give to anyone getting into this space, apart from the general advice of like work hard, consistency, patience, and strive, and those things everyone knows. But then one thing you need to understand is something called as identity
Hmm.
shift. You know, you don't have business problems; you have
Hmm.
personal problems, right? If you yourself have that feeling from inside, you yourself are not confident
Yeah.
person, then you cannot close sales calls. Simple, because you're not confident, you cannot
Hmm.
speak properly, right? So the first thing in business, like obviously you're doing the business, you're learning the business tactical stuff, but also it's about
Hmm.
improving yourself, improving your mindset, improving, let's say, your
Hmm.
communication, right? Various different aspects in terms of
Hmm.
yourself, right? People undergo shiny object syndrome, imposter syndrome. So it starts from there. Once you develop yourself, like people like Alex Homozy and the big guys, how did they become successful? Because they had that
Hmm.
mindset, they had their body like ready to
Yeah.
kill. So once you have that kind of a
Hmm.
machine, right, you yourself are a well
Yeah.
loaded gun. You can go in any arena and kill
True.
it.
True. Very true.
But if you're just taking a stick, right, if you yourself are a stick, a weak stick, you know if I sneeze, will
Hmm.
fly away.
Yeah.
you know so that is the case. So it all starts with identity shift, improving yourself as an
Yeah.
individual. If you're scrolling phone all day, how can you expect him to
Yeah.
run a business? Your attention span is
Yeah.
very low. So these things come into this thing no one talks about, but this is the most
True.
important thing, what I
True.
feel, for people who are
That's
just starting
fantastic,
out.
Anas. I think that is bang on, and I also strongly believe in it. I think a strong body, strong mind, that is needed, right? A combination of a strong body, strong mind is needed to run a business, and you'll not be, at least you'll not get that stamina to run a business, right? If you don't work on these other elements, which are so crucial. So I think that's a fantastic way to close our conversation. Now we are getting into the rapid fire. I hope you're excited for it. So are you ready? Should we get started?
Okay, okay, let's see how
Yeah.
this goes.
So what is like one book you would
Yeah,
recommend?
I'm not sure like how this works, but then
Sorry?
let's. Yeah, you can
All
get
right,
started.
perfect. So what is one book you would recommend everybody read?
One of the books I would recommend is How to Win Friends and
Okay.
Influence People.
Okay. What is one movie you would recommend everybody watch? Yeah.
One movie. No, I would not recommend anyone watching a 3 hour movie. I'll just say just read books, go
Yeah.
podcast. Don't waste your
So
time there.
let's reframe that. What is like one resource, probably from a video standpoint, or one probably YouTube channel or influencer you should follow who puts out very good content outside?
Alex
Alex
Homozy.
Hormozy. Yeah, makes sense. If you had one superpower, any superpower, what would that superpower look like for you?
Ability to focus immediately when I get into work.
Perfect, perfect. And what would you say is the best piece of the best piece of life advice or the best piece of advice given to you overall by anybody? It can be from a book, it can be from a person, it can be from a movie or a podcast, which really stuck with you.
Live in the
Mhm.
present.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people are too concerned about what is going to happen, what has happened. I didn't send out messages
Yeah,
yesterday, DMs yesterday, outbound. Today, how
yeah,
will I do it today? I think it's better to just focus on, take each day
yeah,
as it
exactly.
is, as it is, and just focus on the present.
Yeah, just keep focusing on
Yeah,
your actions.
true. So it's been a fantastic podcast, Anas. I hope you had a good time. I certainly did. And I hope people find a
Yes,
lot of
good.
value out of it. I'll be putting, for the people watching, I'll be putting in all the links of Anas and agency scaling systems in the description, and I'll pin it also in the comments. And thank you again, Anas, for joining in.
Awesome, and nice
Perfect.
talking to you.
Thanks.